apps manufacturers, retailers, and distributors should implement in 2015. Once again, my name is Elena, and I am your moderator for today. As part of the panel of speakers for today, we have Manan Thakur, who is our solutions architect with Indusa. Manan spearheads Indusa's strategic initiatives in the enterprise mobility space to maximize customer benefits. His expertise is in enterprise consulting and solution design globally, and he plays a key role in institutionalizing mobility to position Indusa services in leading enterprises. We also have James Ford, Mobile Application Sales Specialist from IBM. As Duncan Alvis could not join us due to illness with his health, James will introduce IBM's MobileFirst, a cross-platform mobile solution, later in the presentation. Mr. Ford is an IBM MobileFirst sales specialist in the UK, focusing on mid-sized companies in all industries. He's worked for IBM for 15 years, having previously worked as a client executive. He's passionate about mobile and the opportunities this pervasive technology presents to all organizations. Indusa is a firm based in Chicago with offices in India and the UK, which assists organizations across the globe to grow and evolve through world-class services, people, and technology. Since most of you are here, we're going to go ahead and get started with the presentation. I will now hand over the webcast to Manan, who will take you through the presentation. You can also follow the conversation online via Twitter at Indusa ITSOL, as mentioned on the screen. Please feel free to post questions at any time in the question and answer box, and we will respond at the end of the webinar.
Thanks, Alina. Thanks for the nice introduction. Welcome, everybody. Since most of you are here, let's start with the webinar. So today's webinar's agenda is, in next 45 minutes or so, we will be learning about the top 5 enterprise apps into manufacturing, retail, and distribution industry. We will look at how the implementation overall works for these kind of industry and the mobility applications. We will also check what are the top 5 applications and how those will be prioritized in terms of implementation for these kind of industry. We will also look into real-life case studies for the implementation. Then we will see how we can implement the mobility to your organization. We will also talk about Indusa and IBM's MobileFirst platform. Followed by that, there will be a question-answer session. Feel free to post your questions anytime on the questions box, and we will answer the questions once the webinar is over. So let's begin with the role of mobility in various functions of manufacturing, retail, and distribution firms. The role of mobility in manufacturing, retail, and distribution. The mobile technology provides access to crucial data on the go, which can help manufacturers, retailers, and distributors make quick decisions, prevent waste, and increase cost efficiency across their entire value chain. The mobility can synchronize disparate functions and help users to adopt the right applications for their job. It can bring value to all the stakeholders across the value chain, starting from the operations, supply chain, even the field sales and the field service to the manufacturing firms. We can say warehousing, logistics, and even a field service for the distribution firms, and a quality and customer satisfaction for the retail firms. Now, as you can see in this slide, it describes the role of mobility in some of the key functions of an organization while considering the effect on the end customers. You can see that the supply chain, where this can create a good benefit, even in terms of material tracking for the warehouse, issue reporting, inventory check, physical check of the inventory, that will be quite useful. Some of the back office HR functions where it can be very crucial. Even optimizing the logistics and operations by implementing the mobile apps, that is something quite interesting. We can also check the plant maintenance, asset tool tracking, and even I would say the reports and the BI that you can get, and that will help the senior management to take some decisions out of the data that is being produced on the floor out of all these operations. So we can see further how the real-life case studies are there and how different industries have been benefited by implementing the mobility further in this presentation. So now we will look into the enterprise mobility implementation cycle. This graphic will tell you how you can do the implementation, what are the different phases within that. So first, the innovation or incubation has to happen. So you should get an idea that what you are exactly planning to do, which function in your industry you want to first mobilize. So you need to analyze that first. Once you are done with the analysis, you first have to get into the next phase where you actually get into a design part, that how you want to design the application. You get in touch with the developers. Another crucial part in the mobility implementation is that you need to have proper integration done with your LOB system, because seamless integration, you need to have the same system available in your mobile. You can do the data entry operations, you can view the data on your device itself. So seamless integration with your backend system, that is a key factor for successful implementation of any mobility system. Then comes the user acceptance part, because like half of the majority factor, I would say, half of the idea about overall acceptance of the application, that depends on whether the users are able to adopt that. So the user acceptance and adoption go hand in hand here. You need to have a set of users where you can give them for pilot testing, and once everybody is happy with the functionalities or features that the system provides, you can go ahead with that. But as I said, every application there is always a scope of improvement or a room for the improvement, so we can have the enhancement suggested by the end user for whom we have developed this application, so that this cycle will go on and on. There is always will be some enhancement. So again, once the enhancements are suggested, we can get into the analysis phase and design and development and so on, and the cycle will continuously going on. I think before we proceed further, let's see. I'm curious to see your stage in implementation of mobility. We have a quick poll here where I'd like to see and share how many of you are at which stage in the implementation of mobility application. Thanks, everybody. That's quite an interesting result that I can see here. 40% of people feel that they are still determining their strategy. That is quite interesting, that because you are at the right stage, we can definitely help you in, and this webinar will definitely help you to understand that if you are planning to determine your strategy for mobility, what application you should look for and what are the things that you should be considering and what are the pros and cons. 20% people are at requirement gathering stage, which is again quite interesting, because you should be very careful while you are gathering your requirements, what are the things you should be including and what are the things you should not be missing out. And remaining 40% are in the midst of implementation. I think those people should understand that while you are getting again back into the same cycle while you are doing the enhancements or implementation, because even while doing the implementation, we'll share some of our case studies where what kind of challenges may have been arised and what kind of things you should consider just to avoid any kind of fail implementation of the mobility project. Okay, so let's start from where we have to start while we are planning for implementation of a mobility. Today, the manufacturing, retail, and distribution industry are exploring the transformative power of mobile technology and has enjoyed some initial benefits. However, to ensure the true success, you need to bring the mobility conversation into the boardroom and make them part of the overall business strategy. So how do you get exactly started? let's look at further here. So determining the sequence of the approach to implement the mobile app depends on a number of business and technical factors. So user experience definitely is playing a key role. You have to be cautious about the time of the overall implementation. So you have to have a proper schedule when you want to implement that. What kind of device capability you're looking for, whether you're going for a native one or you're going for a cross-platform or hybrid implementation. What will be the overall cost of deployment and maintaining the solution? Of course, the ROI needs to be calculated. What is the flexibility of the solution? How, up to what extent, horizontally or vertically, you can scale the solution? What all different LOB systems with which you can do the integration? What are the security? Because we are talking about data being accessed over the mobile, the security is definitely going to be a major concern, where you should be looking at some sort of enterprise-grade security controls. Now, once you have all these things into mind, you can proceed further. You can have all those things jotted down on a paper. You can have a deck prepared where you can get answers to all this question. And then you can deep dive onto the implementation part. So we will show you what are the top 5 apps that we are talking here. A few slides earlier, we had talked about the role of mobility in different functions of manufacturing, distributor, and retail firms. Looking at today's need, we have picked up the top 5 mobile apps that are suited for the 3 verticals, and these are: so sales app for the field sales representatives, service app for the field service technicians, logistics and inspection app for the logistics company, quality and department representative along with the dashboard, or the business intelligence apps for the analytics. So you can see that there are still some functions left, like consumer, the operations, supply chain, HR, warehousing. There's everything there, but what we are currently looking for is these 5 different areas where we are going to cover our 5 top apps. So let's look at the implementation case study here. The first on the list that we have is the sales app. With the field sales mobile app, your employees can have uninterrupted real-time access to the company's information they need most of the time, anywhere while they are on field. This app automates your processes and help access the accounts, contacts, leads, opportunities, activities, quotes, orders, analytics, etc. Like, you can see that you are having your entire CRM system on your mobile itself. So consider an example that your salespeople are moving on to field and they are just approaching some of the prospective customers and they just want to show that what's the product portfolio, how does the product look like. They can just simply open up the device and get all the latest documents or presentations or videos available on their device. They can show it there. If you're talking about some sort of fast-moving consumer goods and you want to place some orders, you can straight away place the order from your device itself. You can plan your activity, what all meetings you have on a day, what people you are visiting. You can check how your individual leads are progressing, what's your sales pipeline looking like, what are your targets looking like. Everything that you think of a sales person has to do in the entire day is everything available on your mobile app. So this is quite interesting because you have your entire stuff in your pocket. Few more things. You can have your corporate directory where you have all the customers' contact details available at your fingertips. You can manage everything from the device itself, and this will be a shared contact list because you can share all those details with your organization in the back office. And using this, you can keep your company's database completely up to date at any point of time. Now, as I said earlier, we will talk about what kind of things that you need while you are actually implementing. So when we are talking about the actual implementation of this field service app, what was the requirement that we have got from the customer? So the requirements would be very large, but what the overall crux of the requirement was that they wanted to get away from the web and understand the mobile UI. So you need to first understand that mobile is not exactly web. So there are different controls. The UI, the user experience would be different. You can expect the native-like experience that while you are working with mobile, you get the swipe features and different kind of OS level enhancement that you may expect, and different specific icons that you can use in app, which will be easier for user to understand what operations they are performing. And when we provided the solution, you can, on the left-hand side, you can see the actual screenshot of the sales app that we have deployed at the customer end. So the solution benefit of that is you can do the customization and generation of the multiple packing slip designs. That is quite interesting because you can have everything available on your mobile. You have a Bluetooth printer attached with it, and you can have a printout of the packing slip straight away from your mobile. You can push the sales order from your mobile device to the ERP. In this particular case, we had a Microsoft Dynamics AX where we did this integration. Again, this application was available in cross-platform, so that was developed using my IBM's Worklight. And usage of mobile-friendly controls like toggle switch, touch menu, pull to refresh. So all of you might have been using the social networking apps would be aware of these kind of features, that the toggle switch and the pull to refresh has become now the norms in the mobile application industry. Next on the cards we have is service app. This is again a screenshot of the service app. So you can have a landing page where you can have dashboard, as I was talking earlier about the icons. So you can see that task and maps. In the service industry, you can definitely should have an option of creating service orders because you are trying to fix certain things. You need to have access to service manuals or blueprints of the machine that you are operating. And these sort of things are available. And what we have is like a comprehensive view of entire information that when you are visiting any customer to fix any problem, so problem diagnosis should be available. Whatever customer has reported on the top side, you can see that the details of what is the equipment in context. On bottom right section, you can see the agreement details. So even if whether the customer that you are visiting, the equipment is still under warranty or not, whether you have to charge customer, what is the address details, what's the problem reported. So all this kind of history and details available on a single page. So this kind of details are quite handy and useful for the service technician who is visiting at a customer end straight from the field to fix some problems. Moving further into this one, you can have a list of all the tasks that are assigned to it. So take a scenario when a service engineer, let's say a person is moving on to field, I'm fixing some problem, after fixing the problem, I've left the customer premises and immediately my iPad just shows the notification that I have another task assigned to me, that there's somebody stuck in the elevator and I need to go rush to the building and fix the problem to get somebody out of the elevator. So that kind of thing can happen when you are using this kind of application. So you get a notification, you have a list of all the details available, you know where you want to go, what problem has been reported, and how you have to fix it. The guideline is also available. So this is, you can do, your productivity will be increased by doing so, and that will help you gain a better customer satisfaction, which will even increase the revenue of the company by getting more contracts being registered with the company. So on and on, the implementation may not have the direct impact on the cost, but eventually you are going to get a lot of benefits by doing the mobility implementation in your organization. As I said, this is another example where you can have the invoice being handed over to customers straight away from your mobile device itself. That will reduce the payment cycle, so you get the better revenue again from that perspective as well. Checking the service app implementation case, in case of the field service mobile app, then when we implemented for an electric equipment manufacturing firm. So they needed a middleware system because the mobility, when you are integrating, it is good to have a middleware system where you can seamlessly integrate with your backend ERP or LOB systems, where middleware can act and you can have a controlling of the application available from the middleware itself. Type of integration, whether you can go for the tightly coupled or loosely coupled integration. that we can discuss later on about the integration aspect. But what was the benefit of implementation of these solutions? We could achieve the higher security standards because the data that we are accessing were of company's ERP system, which would have confidential information about the customer as well as the implementation of the machine that a customer has. And another thing, that benefit that the client would have got out of these was the real-time data visibility, what the problem is and what the service technician is doing. The back office dispatcher would be able to know what's the current status of the problem. In case of any issues, if the service technician want to consult any of the expert, he can consult straight from the mobile device itself. Again, this had a cross-platform solution available, so you can access from mobile, from the tablet, even if it is Android, Windows, or iOS. That was available on the all platforms. Next one that we have is a logistics app. So we are aware of the fact that the manufacturing and distribution firms are quickly adopting the mobile apps for tracking their shipments from the origin to the delivery. In fact, according to a new report from the IDC titling the Manufacturing Insights, there is a rising trend of using the corporate app stores to manage the proliferation of the manufacturing and logistic mobile apps across the manufacturing companies. They go on the site that the current adoption rates for the corporate app store are less than 20%, although almost 80% of the manufacturers are deploying the mobile application, and at a more rapid rate than the traditional applications can be implemented. Now, let's take a logistic app. As you can see here, that provides a real-time shipment tracking by integrating the various features such as the shipment loads, quick alerts, tenders, code generation, and the maps for routing. Even at certain points, you can check what is the task assigned to it, what are the loads that you are going to deliver on the particular day. So even a customized view can also be available. Moving further, you can see that the order details will be available on the screen, and you can do the drive-through logistics also. You can have entire order list available for your search. You can put any kind of details like the invoice ID or the order number, shipment status, and you can get the list of all the outstanding orders that you have for the delivery. So for this application implementation, what we have is we did an implementation for the swimming pool manufacturing and distribution firm. This swimming pool manufacturing firm wanted a system to track the shipments at the point of delivery. They precisely wanted to track the shipments in real time, needed a proof of delivery tracking, as well as the track their field employee productivity. Now, the logistic app was built in a real-time shipment tracking functionality. This app provided the enhancement of revenue realization and the better customer satisfaction through the accuracy in shipment. Now, the operational excellence was also achieved with a better field employee productivity. And there was another feature that we provided was the proof of delivery. You can have the delivery proof taken from the customer. You can get the customer signature straight away, and that is available, and the emails will be fired to the customer so that you can have, there is no paper coming in between. Everything has become digital, and that is quite interesting case study that we have implemented for the customer. Next on the list we have is the inspection app. This is quite an interesting example because we are talking here about this application which can be used for any kind of equipment or any, this particular case what we are talking about is the mobile houses or mobile offices that a company gives on a rental basis. So whenever there is a machine or equipment or even the goods are going out of the premises, that needs to be inspected. So the inbound and outbound inspection was the core of this application. So all the details will be noted down in case of any kind of marks or dents or any problems with the machine or equipment, that will be noted here. So even you have an option here to take the image and do the annotation on the image itself. You can take the customer signature or even the inspection manager signature. So this becomes the entire form of the inspection available on your tablet device itself. Further in this application, we had a different user available. So based on different roles, the functionalities would differ to them. Inspection manager can view the customer inspection screen. You can see what all damage billing has been done to the customer, contact details, return date, and cost, and even the damage notes can be available. So the inspection supervisor can have all these details available on the device. When we're talking about the management who can actually see the dashboards of what has gone out and what is the outstanding payment being done from the customer, and so they will be more interested in seeing the financial terms. So depending on the role, as I said earlier, can have a different kind of screens being presented. Now, storage container manufacturer was in need of an inspection mobile app that would work across all the platforms. This app should also work consistently irrespective of the mobile connectivity, whether it's a 2G, 3G, 4G, or even at a Wi-Fi. This app was required to have operating system compatibility as well. A mobile app for tablets and smartphone was built for this customer for the offrent inspection process, which allows sending of the required information to the JD Edwards ERP, in this case that customer was using. That would store this information in the work order system for the current and future processing. This app can also work offline, because this is a very crucial feature that you cannot guarantee the connectivity available on the devices every time. So you should have an option of working offline whenever you're talking about enterprise grade apps. So data would be available to work on your device. You can process the data, you can store everything on the device. The moment the connectivity is restored, that will be synchronized back onto the device. We did some sort of map integration here using the Google Maps, even the iOS Maps as well. And that was another good example of implementation of this application for one of our customers. I was talking about the senior management dashboards that we can give a rich graphical UI that can be presented to the senior stakeholders within the organization. So I know your senior executives fret over logging into different portals and reporting tools just to get the right analytics. This kind of BI or analytics app connects to the data from anywhere, which means you can have all your data into a single place, anytime, anywhere that you want to have access to. With this app, you can experience the insight wherever you are with the support for a variety of mobile technologies with a rich and interactive BI interface. This app allows you to interact with the data, which is highly visual, and along with interactive reports. So you can see the couple of samples as a screenshot available here, which can show you one is the demographical data shown on the maps, other one shows the graphical UI or the charts you can see with the nodes available connecting. Depending on the size of the node, you can see the dense population, what it shows, even the sales will be shown here. As you can see in the screen, the user can have the graphs of the data for the products in a series of years. A graphical analysis in form of a different charts can also be viewed. So all in all, this has a lot of different views available that would be beneficial to any kind of a senior stakeholders who is looking for analytics, who want to develop some strategies for the upcoming financial years, or even up to say a new strategy for launching a new products, so to say. So this application can definitely help any kind of a senior stakeholders who are into decision making. This application we had implemented for an agro firm. They were looking for an app to automate the process and make it visual for faster performance. The user will be able to view and interact with the data anytime, anywhere using his mobile device. A dashboard, or I would say a BI app, was built that allowed the user to view and fully interact with reports, dashboards, matrix, analysis, and other information in a secure reach environment. User also receive timely, informative, and interactive business intelligence to support their decision making regardless of their location from where they are accessing. And that, as I said earlier, will help them in quick decision making. Time for the next audience poll that we have. We have put together a quick poll here to find out which app is most relevant for your business, which according to you is the most useful app that you would like to implement: sales app, service app, logistics, inspections, or a dashboard. Okay, thanks for participating in the poll. That's quite surprising. 75% of you are interested in sales app, and half of you think that the service app is quite interesting. Few of them also feel that the logistics and inspection is also an interesting one for them, but the majority of feels that the BI and dashboard is something that they should go for. In the final part of our presentation today, we'll discuss the best practices in the mobile implementation. So are you scoping for your mobile solution? First, you need to understand what is the mobile workforce that you have. That will help you to understand what kind of implementation, is it a large one or a smaller one that you want to go for, which device or a platform that you want to invest in. Because I would say the word investment here, because when you decide the platform, you are making a lot of investment in terms of devices, in terms of the technology that you are going to purchase. So that is quite useful and interesting to have. What type of devices that you are planning to go for, whether it's a mobile device or a tablet? What's the business function that you want to bring to your mobile? Whether it's your logistics, whether it's your service, sales, HR, finance. So you have to make a call which function you want to bring it to mobile, which LOB system it has to do the integration with, because seamless connectivity, that is the motto of any successful mobile implementation. So you need to identify which LOB system you want to do integration with. And of course the timeline for the mobility app development, because you don't want to just spend months and months for planning and just thinking about the mobile implementation. You have to act upon that. So you have to first freeze the timeline to when you want to do the deployment. So critical questions and factors for mobility implementation. According to Gartner, manufacturers will adopt mobility to gain 3 primary benefits. First is to increase the productivity of their workforce via the employees' mobile devices. Second is to influence the customer behavior in the marketplace for their goods via the consumers' mobile devices. And the third one is to produce the higher value smart products via the embedded mobile computing and communication functions to capture the government mandated and emerging commercial demands. Here you can see we have listed a few important factors that needs to be considered for a mobility implementation. Your implementation strategy could be based on either a vendor's viability, reputation, service, and support, or I would say integration with a line of business systems such as ERP or a CRM system, the mobile solution's depth of functionality, technology adoption, whether to go for a native app or a cross-platform app, cost of the mobile app, and the total cost of ownership. And sometimes you have to think beyond the technology to get the best answer how you want to actually achieve the implementation of this mobility. So on and on, all these factors contribute to the successful implementation of mobility, and these are really critical factors that can definitely drive the overall direction of the mobility implementation at your organization. Next, we'll talk about the IBM MobileFirst. I will hand it over to my colleague James to discuss about IBM MobileFirst. Over to you, James.
Thank you, Manan. And as Elena described at the beginning of our presentation, I work for IBM's MobileFirst business, which in its entirety is a practice designed to help organizations address any challenge or opportunity that enterprise mobility presents. More specifically, I'm a sales specialist for our MobileFirst platform, which is a suite of software products designed to help organizations build, manage, and maintain successful mobile apps. If we could move to the next slide, please. Can we move to the next slide, please? Okay, thank you. And here you see two very interesting diagrams, both quite different, but both centered around a tree. And at IBM, we believe in this diagram that the tree represents the front end of an app. So the part of the app that your users or your employees will see. So the user experience, the look and feel of the app. And then beneath the surface are the roots of the tree. And here that represents all the back-end effort to make a successful app. And you can see the different categories there around development, engagement, security, and operations. And really that represents things like integration into your core ERP or CRM systems so that you can provide value-added services to your users. Performance management, not only making sure that the app can perform quickly, but also that it's robust. That it isn't crashing all the time, it's not full of bugs and errors, and that the app can be used when there is little or no connectivity. Security is paramount as you're sharing confidential and sometimes sensitive data about your company, your employees, and even your customers on mobile devices that are out and about in the field. And finally, analytics. Analytics around how many people have downloaded the app, how many people are regularly using the app, what version of the app are all the users on, and do you need them to upgrade to the latest version of the app? And if you're building apps in a manual way, so for example, if you've downloaded a solution developer kit for Apple or Android or something like that, and you're doing all of that back-end effort manually, this can be very difficult. It can take up a great deal of time, effort, and expense. And we feel that companies that are approaching app development manually spend anything up to 70% of the effort just on the back-end piece, when really they'd like to be spending the majority of time and effort building a fantastic, rich, and relevant user experience for their app users. And this is where the IBM MobileFirst platform really helps. It allows you in many ways to kind of switch the level of effort. So by automating aspects of integration and security and providing a very robust QA process and relevant analytics, organizations can therefore spend up to 70% on that user experience and really make a fantastic and an engaging app that will be used again and again. Move to the next slide, please. Okay, thank you. So what are the biggest challenges that you organizations will face, and what are we seeing our customers facing? Well, number one, as I've mentioned already, is security. You are sharing very important and sensitive data with your employees and with your customers, and this must be secured. This has to be potentially the highest priority for organizations when building apps. But also look at the mobile marketplace. Look at how much it's changed in recent years. Look at what happened to organizations such as BlackBerry. Look at how Apple dominated the marketplace but were then overtaken by Android, but more recently appear to have made a resurgence. The mobile marketplace is arguably the fastest moving and most changeable technology marketplace at the moment. So how as an organization do you keep pace with that? How do you take advantage of the latest technological changes and keep supplying or building relevant contextual apps for your users? How do you cope with changes in scale? Take retail as a classic example. You may be able to cope with the usage of an app in August, but what about in December, when that could be several times the usage that you experience over the summer? Could you cope with that? Could you handle that? I've said already around delivering contextual apps, but delivering a personal and relevant experience to your users. Mobile is very much a separate route to market or channel or way of delivering services. And mobile users expect new and different services from you through apps, and they expect you to be able to take full advantage of the capabilities that these devices offer. And finally, how do you manage apps once they're out there, once they've been released to your employees or to your customers? How do you know if there are problems with those apps, and how do you fix them quickly before people become frustrated and abandon using the app? Next chart, please. Okay, thank you. So how can IBM help you? How can the IBM MobileFirst platform help you? Well, Manon's already talked about some of the work that analysts such as Gartner have done, and IBM has actively asked organizations such as Gartner, Forrester, and IDC to review our solution. And all three of those organizations rank IBM as a leader in mobile application development. And there's a number of ways that it helps to do that. I've talked already about automating aspects of that back-end effort. But another key way that can be really of benefit is writing code once and then deploying it multiple times on multiple different mobile platforms and devices. And unless you need a truly native experience, which is absolutely fine, and you can do that using the IBM MobileFirst platform, then you may want to consider hybrid development, which allows you to do exactly that, to write the code once and then to deploy it on multiple platforms and devices. I've also talked about the MobileFirst practice at IBM, so we have a number of additional solutions which complement the MobileFirst platform around things such as mobile device management, customer experience management, further security measures such as vulnerability testing that you may want to employ, and also push notifications and presence awareness, which could all be relevant for your apps for both employees and for customers. IBM for a very long time now has been a supporter of open standards. We believe very strongly in that, and we believe in choice and flexibility in the marketplace. And we've used standards and solutions such as Eclipse and Apache Cordova in building the MobileFirst platform. And we also partner with organizations such as Indusa and also Apple and Xamarin. So you have maximum flexibility and choice in exactly how you want to build apps if you choose to use the IBM MobileFirst platform. And that's very important because it is such a fast-paced market. And myself as a sales specialist, I've been speaking only in recent weeks with organizations who were worried about being left high and dry by making a particular choice in a certain type of technology and then finding in 12 to 18 months the market's moved on. You won't experience that danger if you invest with IBM and Indusa. And finally, talking about the analysts, I've mentioned being recognized as a leader. Well, Gartner has us in arguably the best position possible in their Magic Quadrant for mobile application development platforms. And I believe that's probably it for me at the moment. I think there is going to be a question and answer session at the end of the presentation.
Thanks, James. Thanks for the insight on IBM Worklight.
Hi, this is Elena, and we'll just briefly go through about Indusa. So I'll just take over the presentation from here, and I'll briefly talk about Indusa and enterprise mobility, which is one of Indusa's key practice areas. So Indusa maximizes the potential of organizations globally to grow and evolve through world-class services, people, and technology. Indusa was founded in 1989, and since its inception, 80% of our client relationships have lasted for 8 years. We work primarily in the technology consulting space and provide system integration and IT services. We are headquartered in Illinois. We have a development center in Ahmedabad and offices in London and Pune. Indusa is a CMM Level 4 ISO 27001 quality and security certified company. We have expertise and experience in delivering apps to a wide variety of industries, including discrete, process manufacturing, professional services, public sector, education, healthcare, and retail. Our key practice areas include enterprise mobility, ERP, and CRM. We also have years of expertise in application integration, specializing in enterprise solutions integration with mobile apps. In enterprise mobility, we provide end-to-end solutions from consulting to development, to integration, upgrade, and maintenance. Indusa also offers a comprehensive spectrum of mobile application development services which drive business transformation, helping our clients realize better outcomes through a holistic approach using IBM Worklight, iOS, Android, and Windows 8 platforms. Our enterprise mobility solutions include field sales mobile solution, field service mobile solution, field procurement mobile solution, and mobile CRM solution. Additionally, we utilize smart enterprise mobility solutions to be strategic differentiators for their business. We're going to move on to the next slide where we'll talk about some of our key clients and partnerships where we have executed multiple projects over several years. So in addition to Microsoft, Oracle, and Samsung, Indusa is an IBM Global Business Partner and an IBM Software Value Plus authorized reseller. We have also received IBM application-specific license for in-field service solution. And now we're going to move on to our question and answer session. So now James and Manan are here to answer any questions you have. So if you do have questions, please feel free to message us via chat, and we can go ahead and address those right now. If there are any questions that you don't get a chance to ask right now, if we don't get a chance to answer, you can always email us, and we'll be happy to answer all of your questions. So let's see if we get some questions queued up here. And it looks like we've got one question coming through right now. So how can the HR department benefit from mobility apps as a large portion of our employees are outside of the office for most of their time? Manan, is this something that you can answer for our listeners?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay, thanks, Elena. It's an interesting question. We did mention the role of mobility in the initial part of our presentation, which also covered the importance of the mobile apps for the HR department. Mobility helps in collaboration and employee self-service forms management in an organization. Some of the features related to the request, approval workflows, even the approvals engine, the leave management system, the HR management system, organization's intranet, and that can be taken onto mobile. A few examples that we can see are the expenses, timesheets, grievances, and even the availability for taking the interviews or even feedback, so the company announcements, the broadcast. These are the various examples that we can think of when we talk about the HR applications onto mobility.
Okay, perfect. All right. We've got another question here, and this may be more appropriate for James to answer. But James, we're getting, how does IBM Worklight licensing work? Can you shed some light onto that question for us?
Yes, I absolutely can, Elena. Thank you. So the first thing I would say is that the licensing for our product is very flexible, flexible in a number of different ways. So in the first sense, it can be licensed on a per app basis, which is designed really for consumer-facing apps, or it can also be licensed on a per device basis, which could be for either employee or consumer apps. And we even have bundles of device numbers to get organizations started. So that's the first sense of how it's quite flexible, but also, and very relevant to that, is how the software can be deployed. It can be deployed in the traditional perpetual on-premise method, or of course it can be deployed software as a service. You could use IBM infrastructure for that software as a service, or you could use the infrastructure of another organization such as a managed service provider to deploy that for software as a service. And finally, we even offer a monthly rental option if that's the right model for you to utilize the software.
Okay. So here's another question we got here, and I'm going to throw this one over to Manan now. We cover B2E apps, and James even mentioned B2C apps. Manan, can you answer, are there any B2C apps that manufacturers kind of commonly use to piggyback off of what James he slightly touched on in regards to the B2C?
Of course, Alina. Thank you. There are B2C apps for manufacturers like product brochures, new offers, order tracking, customer service request, even surveys up to an extent, emergency contacts. These kind of customer apps that a manufacturing company usually uses, even they want to show that digital catalog kind of things, a walkthrough inside their store. So that kind of reality, augmented reality kind of app inside that store. So there are like various examples that we can think of is available, and people are actually implementing for customers. The manufacturing industries are doing that way.
Okay. And I think we were going to take our last question here for today. Like I said, if there's any additional questions, please feel free to send them in via either email that's listed at sales@indusa.com. But for our last question for today, we are going to, maybe James and Manan can give some input or give their insight onto this. What is the most important consideration for building a successful app? We'll just tee off with James first.
Wow, okay, thank you, Elena. That's a tough one, actually. As I think Manan and I have described, there are so many different aspects to building successful apps. But if I were to pick one, personally, I would say integration, because that's the real backbone of an app. That's what gives it substance and allows an organization to offer services that users want and need. So I do feel that integration is arguably the most important consideration.
Okay, that's a great answer. Manan, do you have any insights into this you can give our audience?
Definitely. I think integration is what James said, and I would definitely support that, because as I said earlier, seamless integration, you need to have your LOB systems available on your device to have any kind of data available real time on the device to do it. Take an example of, let's say, inventory counting app in case of a manufacturing or logistics company. That you are trying to access your data on the device itself, you need to have updated stock available, you are processing the inbound goods and outbound goods. So all these things can happen in case only if you have seamless integration with the logistics module in your ERP. Because as I said, you can have the packing slips being printed from the device itself. Again, that can only happen if you have an integration with your ERP. So the integration is the key for the successful implementation any of the mobile application there.
Great. Okay, well, I think at this time we are coming to the end of our time, so we are going to end the presentation. Please visit www.indusa.com for more details on our service offerings. We thank you very, very much for your time, and we look forward to having you on our other webinars as well. We'd also like to hear feedback from you on our webcast through our Twitter handle. Once again, that's Indusa, INDUSAITSOL, with hashtag B2E Mobility. Everyone, thanks for joining us, and have a great day.
Thanks, everybody. Goodbye.
Bye now.
Thank you. Goodbye.